Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jefferson Davis over at blindphotography.us. Also, our store is blindphotography.us/store, and the blog is blindphotography.us/blog. Wanted to start this off. I kind of alluded to this yesterday. Today is January 14th, 2025, and we are in, let's see, what is today? Tuesday of the wintertime here in Payson, Arizona. It is cold outside, moderately cold. It was about 23 degrees Fahrenheit this morning, so well below freezing. Cold enough. I am ready for some snow, some rain, some sort of wet weather. It is very dry here. I'm originally from South Carolina on the East Coast, where it rains 6 months of the year nonstop during the winter for sure. This time of year, all it does is rain in South Carolina, at least traditionally. You may hear the tip-tap of a dog walking in the background. She is restless, so we'll just have to ignore her. I apologize. I'm going to try to do some noise canceling here and see if that helps. But I alluded yesterday in a little short on YouTube about a new camera. So I wanted to explain that and go into that a little bit without wasting too much of your time. I'm going to hopefully get this podcast done and be informative for you. And let's have a discussion on your way to work. I try to keep them pretty short. And it keeps file size down. It's just easier all the way around. I started shooting digital professionally in 2005. I think my first digital SLR was a Canon 5D. Or, let's see, I'm trying to think. It was a precursor to the 5D, whatever that was. I don't remember. But that was my first digital SLR, and I had to save up for it. And I shot digitally from 2005, mainly stock photography. I would sell to local magazines, big magazines, the local newspaper one time or two times, I think, in South Carolina, in Greenville, and to a real estate magazine a couple of times because I like to do architecture. So I did sell, and I've still continued to sell stock photography. I still sell stock photography. If you look up certain things on Adobe stock, you'll find my photographs because there's not a lot of them. Of, let's say, Chimney Rock, North Carolina, some of my stuff's the only stuff on there. And that has been destroyed now, Lake Lure at least. So I did that for many years until 2018. I also did from 2015 through 2018, I did a lot of wedding photography, portraiture, engagement shoots, all sorts of photography, whatever, well, not anything, but most stuff. I did travel, landscape, nature. That's the stuff that I really love. I just did the weddings and stuff to try to make a little money and get my name out there. But the landscape and the nature photography is what I really love and always have loved. And architecture, because I have great respect for old buildings, certain styles, mind you. But I did this for many years, and I ended up selling some of my gear, and I had converted from Canon to Sony because when they finally came out with the Sony A7 II and A7R II, they had so much dynamic range. This was 2015, I believe. It blew my mind because I was used to Canon, and you may get, or at least back then, you may get 2 stops of dynamic range. Literally, you raise the shadows and start seeing noise, severe amounts of noise. So there's never been a lot of dynamic range. Canon glass and Canon sensors are really, their color science is spot on, and it always has been. Always has been. But their sensors sucked compared to Sony. And Sony just bought Minolta. So they bought Minolta's technology and improved on it over the years. But all the lenses they still make today are based on the original Minolta lenses, the A-mount lenses that they bought as part of their purchase, Sony Konica Minolta. But I shot digital for years, but it came to the point where people just wanted digital files. They didn't want prints. I was offering prints with, like if I did a wedding, I would give so many prints, so many wallet size. I wanted the person to get the bride to get a lot of prints to be memorable, and they could choose whichever photographs they wanted to be the prints. I would give them as part of the package 2 12x18s that they could, hang in their house, and then some 10x8s to give the family, 5x7s, whatever they wanted. If they wanted to pay more money, of course, they could get anything they wanted. But everybody else was offering just digital, and digital files are great, but they can be a massive EMP pulse for either nuclear or accidental, somehow can wipe out an entire civilization's digital technology, everything. And I don't think we really understand, or the general public really understands how fragile the zeros and ones of their Facebook photos are, and how easily that can be just wiped out with the snap of a finger. Sure, Facebook has servers all over the world, and they back up their own stuff, and they have whatever, and X, and Instagram and all that, but it's just temporary. So I just got fed up with digital and completely lost my passion for photography, and I've always had a passion for it. Years before that, as a kid, I loved photography, film photography. So I walked away from photography in 2018. I walked away from a lot of things that I'm not going to go into. Nothing bad, mind you, but just, life changes. And I didn't shoot anything. I shot my sister's graduation and then my nephew's graduation. But that was and that was because I was pretty much, wedged into do this because we know you're good kind of thing. I had to do it for family. So I did those, but I didn't do any professional work. I still sold stuff on Adobe Stock and other stock agencies, but I had no desire for it whatsoever. I had completely lost my desire and passion for photography and the skill and the art of it and the technique of it. I didn't forget anything, thankfully, but I lost the desire for it. And I think everybody goes through that, but digital was all about getting to be all about megapixels and less about the art form and less about the technique. And people were buying, and no hating on them, of course, but people were buying a Sony A7 II, for example, or a Sony A6000 and posting on Facebook, hey, I'm doing portraits now. They don't understand lighting. They didn't understand any of this other stuff that makes your, portraits pop. I mean, I learned all the old school ways of doing things, and that's what I still know. So I just got fed up, somebody offering portraits for $50, I couldn't compete. So I was losing money. I lost a lot of money. Photography has cost me a lot of money, but it is something that I love. It's a hobby that occasionally pays a few dividends, and I think a lot of people are in that same segment, right? It's really hard to make a living at just photography. So I walked away from it, and then in 2020 during COVID, I was flipping through eBay one day for some reason. I don't even remember what I was in there looking for, but I saw some film cameras, so I bought them. They were dirt cheap. You could buy a Pentax K1000 for $20 with a decent lens. That's my dog making a bunch of noise. Sorry. So I got back into film. I started developing again. I relearned how to print again like I used to do. And that's where the magic really is printing from those negatives. So it's, all analog. It's not scanning and then putting it on Instagram. It's printing. And right now I don't have a dark room. But we're going to try to figure out something later this year about getting me a dark room. So right now all I can do is scan files or scan negatives and do a little bit of touch up, get the dust off of them, and then put them on Instagram. But I enjoy doing it. I love film photography, and it re-energized my love of photography and light and capturing the scene. And then, I got all wrapped into different lenses and the Tacumar lenses, the Pentax lenses, Minolta, the older Minolta lenses, the coated, the uncoated. medium format. So the last 5 years, all I've done is really increase my knowledge on film photography. So this leads up to now. So last January, a year ago, I found out that I kind of knew this, but I found out that I was going blind, and that it had increased to a level that I wasn't aware of. I always knew there was a chance, and I probably would go blind, but I was hoping it would be when I'm 80 and it won't matter anyway. Not now. And I just, I got married in April of 2023. So I'd been married less than a year and found out that you're going blind. Good luck. So a lot of things, I had to reevaluate things, of course, and I have to work and figure out life and figure out how to manage going blind and what I'm going to do. And my sister and my wife both got very upset because, taking pictures is my life. It's who I am. It's kind of what I do. It's what I've always done that I've done good. I mean, I can fix anything, or at least I could till my vision got as bad as it is now. I can still fix stuff. It just takes me longer under a big magnifier that my wife bought me. I can still fix stuff. It just takes me a long time and I get frustrated. But photography has always been the thing that I was naturally good at, and understanding light and understanding strobes and flashes and making the scene or the portrait pop, to be 3D, to pop out of the print, so to speak. And that's something that I kind of understand naturally, which is funny. I've only had one eye most of my life, or all of my life, really. And now it's going dim. So there's a lot to unpack here. So this year, well, for the last year, I saw the release of the Sony a7C II. And I got really excited about it because I like the a7C, but they hadn't increased the megapixels to the point that I wanted. And it was a completely new model. And I don't like buying the first of anything because any problems they're going to fix with this next model. So when the a7C II came out, it was $2,200, I think. And I could not justify spending that kind of money. And we don't, we got bills to pay just like you do. So I've been watching it for 6 months and watching the price and watching the used prices. And one came up on Amazon last Tuesday, I think, or Wednesday of last week. And it was 25% off. It was a display model, but it still had a really low serial number. And I messaged them to verify that. So I have over here to my right, I have the Sony a7C II, and I'm still paying on it. I will be for the rest of the year. So I'm on a payment plan with it. I didn't just drop, even that much, even let's say $1,500 is still a lot of money for me to drop on something. So I'm on a payment plan with it. But I'm not giving up film, and I'm going to explain why I bought a digital camera and not more film cameras, or why I bought anything at all. So my vision's getting pretty bad, not great. I am working with system people here in Arizona to get not financial assistance, but blind assistance, to get assistance with learning how to deal with life being blind, like navigating computers and doing all the things that I'll need to do, and getting retrained to do a job from home, which is really what I want to do, is work from home, so I don't have to navigate the roads around here and get run over. I'd rather not get run over. Whether I'm here or I was in South Carolina, it would be the same thing. Working from home is the long-term objective, whether it's working for another company or working for myself, doing consulting and stuff. So But I'm working with them and doing everything they asked me to do. But I bought the A7C2. It has genius autofocus, AI autofocus, really good autofocus. And the lenses have come down to a good price now. I mean, the Viltrox, for example, makes absolutely superb autofocus lenses for the Sony and for Nikon and for Canon RF, the Nikon Z or Nikon, however you want to say it. So I'm going to invest in some 1 or 2 lenses for it, the ones I think I'll use the most. Autofocus, so that, you know, when I can't manually focus, I'll still be able to take pictures. And for that matter, I have 2 different Minolta Maxim bodies down here on the shelf, and a couple A lenses for the Maxim or Sony, however, you know, it's the screw mount. It's the older screw mount lenses. So I'll still have autofocus regardless, whether it's film or digital, but I'll be able to shoot more in digital and be able to put out more content to Instagram and stuff, so I can get better known. Hey, he's blind and he's taking photographs, and I wanted to also talk about a few other things. I picked up Sony for several reasons. One, I've shot with them professionally and I trust them. And I've shot a bunch of weddings with Sony A7 II, which only have 1 SD card, but I never had any issues. What I would do is shoot segments. I would shoot the bridal stuff, pre-wedding, on 1 SD card, and make sure they were all the same size, like 16 gigabytes, right? All Lexar, all formatted into the camera. Shoot the bridal on 1, shoot the main, you know, and the groom on the other, and then shoot the main wedding, and then shoot. I would have like 4 SD cards, but they're safe. You know, it's not going to get corrupted when you do that, when you split them up like that. Yeah, I mean, having 2 SD cards, or a UHC and an SD card, of course, is better, but, you know, I did it for years and never had any trouble out of the Sonys. So I knew the Sonys, and focus peaking on the Sonys is great. And I have been shooting for the last few days. We've been really busy. I moved my office. We had this little breakfast nook that we really weren't using for anything, so I apologize for the echoes. I'm going to do what I can about that, but there's a wall to either side of me and a big window straight in front of me, so I apologize for the echo, but I'll try to cut that out in software. But we've been really busy over the weekend trying to move my office out here to this breakfast nook that we weren't really using anyway, except for storage, and redoing my wife's scrapbooking and crafting studio. So we were really busy over the weekend doing all that. I didn't get to go out and shoot every day, and it's flipping cold outside, but I went out this morning and walked around the lake and stuff and took a few shots, and I'm sharing them now. They should be in this video. If you're watching the video on YouTube, if you're listening to the podcast, obviously you can't see anything, but you have me to listen to, Southern boy. But so that's why I chose the Sony A7C2. I got a good deal on it. If it would have been full retail price, I couldn't swing that. But given price was reduced, it was a display model, low numbers on the files, I was okay with it. And my wife was okay with it once I asked her permission. I was like, I kind of did something. I hope it's okay. I'm sorry. She thought something awful, but yeah, I bought that camera. So that's what's going on. But I'm not giving up on film. Right here to my right, I have about 40 rolls of Kentmere, some 400 and some 100 and some Ortho 80 and some old Kodak Tri-X that I'm intrigued to use, and then I have some color that I'm gonna shoot this spring or before. But I'm mainly a black and white guy, so if I want to shoot color, I'll use the Sony A7 C2 for the most part. But I do have some color here. I've got some Fuji color and some crazy stuff here. Let's see, what is this one here? Kodak Select Gold 400. That's an old one. This guy is from, I am looking, should have a date on it somewhere. It's 2005. I've got a bunch of this Fuji Superior 200. I've got several rolls of that, about 7 rolls of that. Some Kodak 200, some medium format Kodak 160, frame gaming. I don't shoot color very much, so it's kind of rare that I have that, but I do have some C41 Chemicals Cinestill kit. I use 510 Pyro for my black and white stuff. But that's what I got working on. That's what I'm working on right now. I been working through a lot of stuff. Hopefully this weekend, Sunday, I have to work Saturday. My wife's busy Saturday, so Sunday we're gonna try to get out and go up to go somewhere. Hopefully somewhere with some snow and photograph, and we'll talk about that. But I just want to say hello. I hope you guys are doing well, and get out there and shoot. Have a great day. It's Jefferson Davis at blindphotography.us signing off.